The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill, a breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help, just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Schaap. You may know me from ESPN's Outside the Lines and Sports Center. What you probably don't know is that I've suffered from Crohn's disease for almost 20 years. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America's Take Steps, Be Heard walk program is the largest national walk program dedicated to raising funds and awareness to combat Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. To learn more about how you can help and to find a walk site near you, please visit www.cctakesteps.org.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and practice an escape plan for you and your loved ones. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Hi, I'm Hillary Duff. As a mom, I'm proud to support the March of Dimes in helping more women have full-term pregnancies and healthy babies. That's why I walk in March for Babies. The money we raise funds research and local programs that help babies overcome the challenges of premature birth and birth defects. Sign up today at marchforbabies.org. Together, we can help make healthier babies possible for thousands of families.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Well, this morning we start off with something a little bit different. You should check out the brand new website, as it is awesome, if I do say so myself. This morning we'll be talking about things that interest you most, or should be interesting you, like what Washington is doing with your data mining, what the Zuckerberg is actually doing. You'll be shocked about that. What a Seattle judge finally says about sanctuary cities and what's going on in Hawaii. That and much more coming up.
And now, live from the bunkerized studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, it's Rod Eccles.
And a good morning to you, liberty lovers and ecclesiastites all across the planet. Yes, it is I, your lovable host, Elrod. Here we are this morning, this Thursday morning, March number 30 in the year of our Lord 2017. Call-in number is 603-835-3226. You can utilize that number at any time to give us a buzz and jump in. You know, I don't know what's this another technical issue running around this morning. What we have here is slow operating computer for some. What's wrong with Twitter? Is anybody having problems with Twitter this morning? You know, I Twitter can be useful, but I don't know if it's just me, but it's just been a pain in the butt lately. They're having more issues. You would think that Twitter is not as well established as it is by all the recent problems that they've been having. Now, I don't know if these are targeted problems. Some people out there who are paranoid would say that they're targeted problems. I don't know. But it keeps saying whenever I'm trying to post over there, post any picture, it says internal error. If I don't post a picture, I'm fine. But I see everybody else posting, a lot of other, people posting. Actually, to tell you the truth, all these posts I'm seeing are older posts from yesterday. I refresh and try to get some new posts. I'm not getting new posts. I'm getting posts that are like 10, 18, 24, 36 hours old. It's really kind of weird. I haven't noticed that before. But in any case, Twitter is Twitter. If you want to, if that's an issue for you, then you'll have to deal with something else. I also use Gab. Gab is not bad. I mean, it's new, it's young, it's fresh, it's hip. It's all that kind of stuff that Twitter used to be, but isn't anymore. Gab.ai, you can check that out. Yeah, but that doesn't stop the fact. I got to say, I think after today, I am done with Firefox, at least on this computer. I don't know if everybody else is having issues with Firefox, but literally every other day, Firefox is updating, and whatever the issues that it has, they don't fix it. And it has become a lot slower than Google Chrome and Internet Explorer. I'm very dismayed by this. I have no idea what the hell's going on over with Mozilla and Firefox. I mean, it used to be, it used to be the SHIITCTCH, right? Everybody was moving towards it. And I maybe they just got too big for their britches, or because it's open source, there's too many cooks in the kitchen on this. And there's not enough oversight to bring things in order, because you can't have a browser that updates major updates every other day. And the problems that you've had with it before that you keep sending in saying, we're having a problem with this and problem here, doesn't get fixed. And unfortunately, it is not just on, it is on all three of my computers with different operating or versions of the operating system of Windows. So it's, unless Firefox doesn't want to work with Windows at all, then it's Firefox's problem that they need to fix. And I think this morning they did another major update, and you want to talk about slow, it's ridiculous. So I think Firefox is they need to get their act together. I know we can complain about these types of things. Isn't it kind of funny what we complain about? Well, when you're trying to do work, you don't want to be stymied by your work tools. You want tools that actually work and help you do your job efficiently, as fast as possible. But sometimes we just have, and no, it's not I'm not in a conspiracy mode thinking, oh yeah, somebody's out there trying to get me. Well, if they were, then more than just Firefox would be an issue. And I as much as I try to get away from using Google now, I just don't, at the moment, I don't have an alternative. Internet Explorer just sucks. Firefox is now slow. So what am I left with? I don't have any other browsers. I don't use Safari, but that's only on my Apple, the only Apple product that I use, which is the iPad. Can you get Safari for Windows? I don't think you can get Safari. You can get Internet Explorer. Well, you can get all the others for Windows, right? Or for Apple. I think you can get Windows for Apple. I don't know why you do that, really. I mean, it used to be that you got a machine that could do two. Remember that when they came out with a machine, an Apple machine that also had you could also put Windows on it. That was like, wow, that is so cool. But from what I was thinking, and that's due to there wasn't the universe of stuff that was available for Apple, Apple computers wasn't nearly as big as the universe of stuff that was available for DOS or Windows-based computers. And thus, people wanted some of the programs that Windows had available, but they couldn't get over on Apple. So Apple agreed to let Windows in on its products. Now, I used to think, well, that was kind of dumb because people use Apple because they don't like Windows. And so now they're putting Windows on Apple products. That sort of defeats the purpose. And I get that. I get it. But I'm not an Apple fan. I'm not one of those. I'm not saying that apples are bad. I just think for the most part, apples are overpriced. Apple computers, Apple products are just overpriced. But and look, they're one of the most valuable, most profitable companies on the planet. Right now, so it's not something that I take lightly, that I say lightly. But I've never been a huge Apple fan. I mean, I know there are Apple people out there they're just Apple Corporation, Steve Jobs, Apple Corporation, Apple this, Apple that, everything Apple. That's fine with me. They can do that. I don't have an issue with that. I just don't see the benefit of paying the premium price, especially now when the gap has been closed. That maybe at one point in time, Apples were superior in certain areas. If you're a musician or something like or a designer or a graphic designer, Apple computers were at one point far superior than PCs in that area. But today, I don't think that's the case. It's really not. So there isn't such an advantage over an Apple over a PC product to pay such a huge premium. It's not worth the huge premium. But to some people it is, but not to me. So I don't have any Apple computers. The only Apple product I have is an iPad. That's it. And frankly, I didn't purchase the iPad. I was about to purchase a tablet, but it wasn't going to be an iPad. And the iPad just happened to be a gift. Yes, I have friends in high places. So I didn't purchase this iPad because I wasn't going to buy an Apple. Now, when I go out and buy a new tablet, I kind of got to say I'll probably buy another iPad. Why? Because in the tablet area, when it comes to the smaller tablets, not the computer-sized tablets, but the regular tablets, I think Apple is a little bit better. Great. I know. You're probably saying, well, that's confusing, Rod. How do you say, well, there is no premium now in the iPad area. I mean, iPads are, you can get an iPad for $500 or you can get a tablet, quote unquote, iPad for $400 or $450. So it's not, there isn't a big price difference there. But with their computers, there is still. And let's not even get into cell phones. I don't even really, I don't go for all the newest. You know, I still haven't bought a Galaxy. What is it? A 7S Edge. I haven't bought one of those. I mean, yeah, I'm not into that. Buying that stuff new over and over and over and over and over again. But it is what it is, folks. It is what it is. Speaking of which, there is this thing out there that has to do with well, evidently, what is going to happen is we have they've gone ahead and allowed for the selling and dissemination of your internet stuff, all your online stuff. And it's not now I brought this to you yesterday, and seriously, this is rather concerning. Now we have these wonderful new internet rules where telecom giants can now mine your web history and sell it off. They repealed the FCC privacy rules, and this is going to be a data boon for, telecom giants like Verizon and Comcast and AT&T and the like. Time Warner, Time Warner Cable. All this stuff is now in the hands of these corporate giants who are looking for ways to, shall we say, quantify via cash your digital self. So now you're probably going to, I don't know, maybe the reason why some of this stuff is acting so slow is because these companies are now putting tracers and cookies and spy bots onto your system to track where you're going, because these companies telecom companies can track the websites you visit, the apps that you use, the TV shows that you watch, the stores that you shop at, the restaurants you eat at, and then, And that they can bundle all that information, that metadata, and they can sell it to advertisers and make a ton of money. Because what's the most important thing to an advertiser? To target the people that are most likely going to purchase their product or service. They won't have to waste money on people that they have no chance at all at getting. So the shotgun approach to marketing in advertising is dying. There is this whole thing called a a rifle approach in marketing and advertising, and you want to get to the people. You want to narrow it down so well that you are guaranteed success every time you advertise something, because you are advertising to the people that are most likely to purchase from you. Well, how do you get that information? Is you start collecting all this data from people who are just out in the general public. You see what they do, how they do, when they do it, where they do it, and how much they spend when they do it. It's not hard. All that kind of data is actually pretty easy to get. All you got to do is have somebody who has the ability to collect it and then give it to you or sell it to you. And when it becomes extensive, I mean, Facebook's algorithms and Facebook's data information collection is extensive. Well, when you have something that's that extent, how can you be more extensive than somebody who's able to track you from beginning to end, from start to finish, from the time that you wake up to the time you go to sleep and beyond, from the time you first grab and open the box to that new electronic device and hook it up to the internet, to the time that you break it or disappears or dies on you. They have all that information, and I'm talking about all those wonderful telecom, and they can go from device to device. The one thing that Facebook has over some others, and Verizon has, and the cell phone companies, is that as long as you stay with them, it doesn't matter how many devices you go through, you still have a pattern that they can take pictures of and sell. It's a snapshot. Folks, your privacy is gone.
You're listening to me, your lovable host, L-Rod, here on The Rod Eccles Show.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. about as far as we can throw you.
603-835-3226. That is a call-in number should you wish to join me here live on the Rod Eccles Show. Welcome back. Glad you are here on this Thursday morning. You know, this whole notion that that these telecom giants, and they're, well, I don't know, is that what you call them now, telecom? They're more than telecom, aren't they? I mean, they're well, let's just call them the new media. They are media because they're television, their radio, their internet, their cell phone communication, their telephone communication. They're just communication companies. I guess they're media communication. Is that a whole new type of thing to conglomerate to say? Media communication. Lawmakers Tuesday afternoon voted to overturn privacy rules that required telecom companies to get customer permission before sharing their web browsing and app usage history with third parties. The White House said Wednesday President Trump intends to sign the measure into law. In theory, this is your information to be given to somebody else is possible given the stance now that Washington is taking on online privacy. Now, there are Privacy Act advocates out there that want to basically shut down the ability of anybody to be able to track you at all. And, you know, for the most part, I said that's not possible or plausible because some of those cookies and tracking are the basis of the internet and makes the internet usage more enjoyable, makes it smoother and faster. You ever notice that sometimes, unless you have a very clean, slick website, by the way, new website is up. There is still stuff being added to it as we there was one portion of it. I'm not going to say which portion. There was a portion that we did upload, and about an hour later it proceeded to crash. So we had to remove it and try to fix it. But the new website is up. I would say it's probably about 75% there of what the final product is going to be, and it's functional. It's new. I like it. I like the design of it. It's slick. We didn't put any cookies on it to track you, so you're not being. If you go there and you find there's a cookie that's being planted on your system from my site, it isn't me. Guarantee you, not me. And if you'll notice, there are no ads on there. Did anybody? I hope we didn't put any ads. We didn't put any ads. There are no ads there. So therefore, there shouldn't be any cookies. So somebody else is scamming you if you're getting cookies from my site because I'm not putting them there. Well, maybe with some of the plugins, maybe they do it. I don't know. But I tried to find good top-rated plugins that actually work and that are responsive, that are light, because a web page shouldn't take forever to upload. Even if you've never been there before. You ever notice if you've never been to a particular website, sometimes it seems like it takes forever? Well, it's because your computer doesn't recognize it because it's never been there, because it doesn't have any cookies on your machine. Now me, sometimes things take longer because every night I sweep all my machines and get rid of as many cookies and spyware things that I possibly can. I do that every night. So some sites continually take forever to load up because there's no cookies for it to go back to, because the sites are heavily laden. They're massive sites. Now, some are massive simply because of just the way they are, but others don't need to be, but they are because they're loaded up. You ever go to any of those spam, well, I call them, the clickbait sites? Well, the reason a clickbait site might take forever to load up, why it make forever to load up is because they're loaded with ads, and they're loaded with cookieware and spyware. So all that stuff has got to be recognized and downloaded into your computer. And a lot of times it congests your computer, and your computer doesn't like it all. That's why some of those clickbait, I try not to do clickbait and go over to clickbait. But sometimes you just can't help yourself. You find a very interesting topic, but it gets you. Sometimes they just get you.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us,
after this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
603-835-3226. Welcome back. I am, of course, your lovable host, Elrod, coming to you live from the Bunkerize studio. 603-835-3226 is the number for you to utilize. We're talking about here your data. Everything about you that has been digitized, being for sale, and Donald Trump is evidently signing off on it, and so is the GOP. Now, isn't this funny? Folks, I mean, they cannot get together to repeal Obamacare. They can't seem to do that. But they don't. This is I know it's the FTC or the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, and not Congress itself. But I find it interesting that they're able to basically get rid of your digital privacy so easily. But they can't protect your real health so easily. So we can't repeal Obamacare, but we can repeal privacy protections for your digital self. So now what it means, folks, is that I'm sure that there's plenty of apps well, I wouldn't even use the apps actually, but there's an industry out there that will probably teach you how to be a lot more savvy and invisible online. And you're going to need to, you know how difficult it is to rein in. There is a company out there that does this, I do believe. You know how difficult it is to rein in your online identity? It's very difficult. Now, the only thing you can do is really control what goes out, and to overwhelm it, to cover up stuff that you don't want to be out there, or some of the fake stuff that's out. Look, I know that there's fake stuff out there about me. I know that there have been fake profiles on social media platforms. I've seen some of them. I've been told about some of them over the years. I know they're out there, and there are probably some fake, profiles of you out there somewhere. If you have any type of online presence that is significant, if you have a significant number of followers or friends or what have you, or you have a significant presence by shopping a lot, you're probably going to have a fake profile or 2 or 10 made of you out there. How else do you, when you Google or Bing your own name, I mean, granted, some people may have a common name, so you can understand that. But other people may not have such a common name, but you got to wonder why there are like millions of results when you Google your own name. And you have to, well, how is that possible? It's possible because there's there's stuff that isn't really related to you, but somehow the search engine algorithm is relating it to you. That is true. But it's also true that there's a bunch of fake stuff out there on you that isn't really you, but is pretending to be you. So I learned a long time ago that I couldn't stop all that stuff. So what I had to do is I had to overwhelm the system to make sure that the fake stuff was buried and people didn't, nefarious people were unlikely to see it and pick it up. The fake stuff. And there's a lot of it out there. Look, I even get family members contacting me sometimes. Rod, did you know this? I'm like, no, I did not know. Thanks for telling me. I know it's scary. It's scary. And this just opens the door for that kind of stuff to happen even more often, which means you have to be a lot more careful. And this is what, look, folks, the whole idea of, I mean, some people don't like the idea of being famous, as it were. You know, they're private people. I'm one of those people. You know, a long time ago, I thought I wanted to be, you know, get into acting and things like that. And I did a few TV commercials where I lived in upstate New York, and I did a little bit of modeling. Oh God, I'm glad those things are not online anywhere. Those pictures. I just I want to give you an inside picture in your head for a second that you're not going to be able to get out of your head for the rest of the day. But I think that I should share this with you. And this is why I'm glad that the internet back then was not so prolific. Today, that stuff would be online, and I would be so embarrassed by it. But picture, if you will, me as a young man in my teens, modeling for a catalog, dressed head to toe in tie-dye. I'm talking, I would give Jimi Hendrix nightmares. Tie-dye, and one of the main picture that I was in, I had a tie-dye headband, a long-sleeve tie-dyed T-shirt, long pants, tie-dyed pants, and tie-dyed shoes. And yes, I had to pull up one of the pant legs to show off the tie-dyed socks. I was tie-dyed from head to toe. I look like a Jimi Hendrix nightmare. Now, try as I might, I have actually gone online to try to find those, but try as I might, they're not out there. Thank God. But there is stuff like that on a lot of other people. And once it's out there, it can never be taken down. And for some people who realize that they don't want to be famous, they like their privacy, they like being able to walk around town anonymously. You know, I mean, think if you're over, I don't know, if you're over the age of 30, 35 or so, you lived at a time, or you were a child and you grew up in a time when the internet was not prevalent, and that everything that happened in your life was not also on the internet or put up on the internet. Now, go back to your childhood history, if you will, your younger days, and think about how many of that stuff you'd like to. Now, I'm sure there's probably some of it you'd like, some of those memories you'd like preserved, and the internet's the best place to do that, believe it or not. But most of your younger life, you are probably glad as hell that the internet was not prevalent. Now, imagine today's kids, especially Generation Z, where all these wonderful Generation Z are a lot of them are, older kids are Generation X children, but many of the younger ones, they are millennial children. Millennial kids are starting to enter school and stuff, grade school, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, up to 5th grade or so. But now, because millennials are as old as what, 35 now? Yeah, older. Yeah. 35, 1980s when the millennial generation began. So they're having kids. And those kids are, some of them are up to 10 years old now. So, or a little bit older. So Generation Z is out there, and they've grown up in a household whose parents have known a very prolific internet. And they've got pictures of them and other aspects. I mean, blogs are like, look at all these mommy blogs out there. The worst thing you can do, let me just be clear on this. The worst thing that you can do is have a mommy or a daddy blog. Because the mommy or daddy blogs, all they do is talk about, usually, is their kids, especially if their kids are young. And they're usually followed up with pictures. And some of those pictures can be highly embarrassing. Now, those pictures will never go away. Your kid grows up online and is famous, if you want to call it famous, from the day that they're born. Those of us that are Generation X or baby boomers or older, we're lucky to have an aspect of our life that isn't recorded for everyone to see. However, with the ruling of the FCC, a lot of that can change. So even some of the stuff that you put on, let's say, Facebook on privacy settings, well, that just hinders Facebook. Because you most likely don't even have any privacy settings on, say, like, I don't know, Xfinity, Verizon, AT&T. Now, remember, Verizon's Fios too, right? AT&T has a DSL component. And all the cellular phone components. I mean, so I don't remember signing or setting any privacy settings on my Verizon or my Sprint accounts, cellular. I don't remember any of those. Anybody remember those? So what I'm telling you is that your privacy has now just been sold out from underneath you. And you have to be more careful than ever before, thanks to not to corporate greed, but to governmental stupidity. This isn't just going to affect you personally. It's going to affect you business-wise in your business life. And it's going to affect you simply because you don't control it. Whoever controls the flow of information is king. They're godlike. That's what this is all about, the control of information. And there are people out there, even on the Republican side, who believe that you should not be able to control your information at all. Because if you control your information, what? You have power. But if you can't control your information, then you have no power. And the people who have the power are the people that do control the information. Because information is power. Knowledge is power. Always has been, always will be. You can have the strongest military and the strongest bodyguards and all that kind of stuff on the planet and the best equipment, but if you don't know how to use it or don't know where to use it and when to use it, it's useless. It's how we have, David and Goliath stories. Because the little guy is able to do things that the big guy doesn't know that they're doing until it's too late. Knowledge and information is superior to everything else. And then knowing what to do with it is secondary. I mean, you can be overloaded with knowledge, but if you don't know what to do with it, it's not going to do you any good. So once you have it, and then you know what to do with it, you're a very powerful person. And trust me, these companies know what to do with all that knowledge, all that information. And they want more of it. It's like being drunk. They want every last bit of information that they can get on each and every one of us. And now the FCC has just allowed them to do that without our permission. Anybody still think that? And look, Trump just signed it. Or is expected to sign it. He's going to sign this, and it's going to become basically the law of the land that you're not going to have any control over your own information. Because they claim the internet and the digital world is public domain. And once you put something out there, you no longer own it or control it. That is their argument. They're wrong, but that is their argument. Simply because you decided to go online to shop or to communicate, they're saying that you no longer should have your privacy. That is wrong. And I'm telling you right now, if Donald Trump were sitting before me, I would tell him, Mr. President, you're wrong if you sign that. You should veto it, say go back, look it over, protect people's privacy because people own themselves. Your information being in the hands of somebody else has now pretty much basically made you a slave to somebody else. Don't doubt me on this, folks.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
Call Rod now, 603-835-3226. Lines are open.
Now, think about this for a second. Knowledge is power, right? Now, these companies are going to have the ability to track and gather information on you based on your browsing history, based on your television watching, the shows that you watch, based on the radio programs you listen to, and understand that there are some companies that are going to be super extremely powerful, more powerful than others. Now, take instance for Verizon. A lot of people don't realize what they're really doing on a daily basis, as far as their digital presence is concerned. And you may think, well, they can't track me everywhere. Let's see. You utilize a cable system, the internet service provider, and a lot of people utilize their tablet or cell phone in a Wi-Fi system or a cellular system, which is sometimes it's controlled by Verizon. So your browsing history, even though you might be using Google Chrome or Firefox or Ubuntu or Internet Explorer, you're still going through a Verizon system. Now, because everything is interchangeable and interusable, just because you're on Comcast doesn't mean that your information is not flowing through a Verizon line somewhere. Or Verizon switching station somewhere, and they just don't gather information at your computer. This is the biggest misnomer that most people have. Oh, I can lock myself down on my computer. Unless you go incognito on your computer, your privacy settings on your computer are pretty much nil, because once they go past your computer, they're not encrypted. Your computer does not encrypt all this stuff. It goes out into the ether world, and it goes through a Verizon switch, well, they can still capture that information. How do you think the NSA and the CIA is able to gather all your information and store it? It's not because they're reaching into your computer. It's because they're intercepting it on its way to someplace else. And they're copying it. That's how all this works. So you're online and it goes through Verizon. You use your Verizon cell phone. You watch TV, and of course, well, I mean, it goes through. You're watching TV, and you're not. I'm using cable. Well, or you're saying I'm not using cable. Well, you're using an internet service, probably. If you're cutting the cord like a lot of people are, so you're still using their ISP service. So all of this stuff is now. Maybe you think, well, I have a small local telecom company, and they don't participate in all that kind of stuff. Well, you're fooling yourself. You are fooling yourself. Everybody knows what you are doing. All these companies. I mean, just every time I go to, it doesn't matter how often I clear the browsing history over at YouTube. Go to YouTube, always pops up with something related to what I watched 2 months ago. Wait a minute, I cleared all that, did I? I didn't. You only cleared stuff as it is posted to your computer, basically what's on your computer. But if you go deep inside of YouTube's algorithms and their server farm, you didn't clear anything out of that data stream or that data system. That's why they're able to come back and say, here, you'll like this stuff based on your previous history. And you'll say, but I cleared my history. And of course, they're saying deep in the bowels of YouTube, yeah, you only cleared it on the surface, basically in your computer. You didn't clear it in our server. We won't let you clear it out of our server. For those of you who don't know, did you know that if you delete a Facebook account, it's not deleted? That's right. And when inquiring to Facebook as to what happens to a deleted account, they keep it on file for up to a year. So if you decide that you want to go back to your account, it'll pop right back up to the day and point that you deleted it. Well, if they can do that, that means they did not delete it, even though you ordered them to delete it. And on the surface, you can go to Facebook and you can search for that account. You won't see it. On your computer, basically, on the surface, the account has been deleted. But back in on their server farms, the account has not been deleted. Do you understand now what I'm trying to tell you about your privacy? And your digital persona is no longer yours the minute that you go online. And now that President Trump is about to sign a new regulation that is going to allow these people to keep that information and to sell that information over and over and over again, your privacy, as the British would say, is now definitely a myth. And it's pretty much over.
America is America because it is so American. The children, they are the future of children, and she loves the children. Diversity is diverse when diversity is diversified. For a future you can see, for a future that brings with it all the hopes of tomorrow. By doing everything we did yesterday, we need a leader. We need a champion. We need her.
Vote for me! It's enough now! Give me it! It's mine! I want it! Just give me it! I want it now!
stop asking questions and just give it to her already. Or you're a sexist, racist.
Paid for by criminals and idiots for Hillary Clinton, because let's face it, you'd have to be one or the other to vote for this complete monster.
Thousands of families affected by disasters, like the recent wildfires, urgently need support. You can help the American Red Cross provide warm meals, shelter, and hope to families when they need it most. Please donate today to Red Cross Disaster Relief to help people affected by disasters, big and small. Go to redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS today. Your support is critical. We can't do it without you.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
Were you born from 1945 to 1965? People born during these years are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. So even if you try to eat right, exercise, and take care of yourself, you could still have hepatitis C, a serious disease that's a leading cause of liver cancer. If you were born from 1945 to 65, you should get a blood test for hepatitis C. Treatments can cure this disease. Talk to your doctor about getting tested. A message from the CDC.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and always stay in the kitchen when cooking at high temperatures. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Premature birth is the #1 killer of babies. Those who survive often face birth defects and complications that affect them for life. For hundreds of thousands of families in the United States, this is the hardest thing they will ever have to face. And it's even harder on the baby. March of Dimes is providing education and support to families and funding life-saving research to give every baby a fighting chance. You can help. Do something today. Give them tomorrow at marchofdimes.org/tomorrow.
It's pretty amazing when you consider that 7 years ago, we didn't have the treatments we have now. We cure 80% of children with cancer. Go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. We understand what makes this cancer tick. And of course, without donors from around the world, this just couldn't happen. There's one thing we're focused on, and that's beating this thing.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Not on my watch, our military service members say, as they volunteer to serve. As they move out, stand firm, and take fire. So not on our watch, we say, to the severely ill or injured veterans who can't get the care they deserve to live full and independent lives, even when there's no government funding, or a nursing home seems like the only option. We won't leave one warrior behind. Not on our watch. Join us at findwwp.org.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
America's wounded warriors are coming home. After serving on foreign shores, these brave men and women are returning to their families and communities. Many have wounds you can see, and many have wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Now that these warriors are back home, they are ready to enter the civilian workforce. To help, Wounded Warrior Project has developed the Warriors to Work program, a career counseling service that helps warriors translate their military experience to the civilian workplace. These extraordinary men and women bring proven world-class job skills and a unique perspective on teamwork to the job. And to ensure the right warrior finds the right job, Wounded Warrior Project works with employers to find just the right match. When you hire a wounded warrior, you hire an intelligent, talented, and committed new employee. Contact Wounded Warrior Project at findwwp.org. Welcome home the brave.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Coming up, don't forget, we got this information about Zuckerberg as well as the news that is happening up in Seattle and in Hawaii as it pertains to illegals and who can come here and who can stay here and what the president can and cannot do. You will be surprised. Don't go anywhere. It's all coming up.
And now, live from the bunkerized studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, it's Rod Eccles.
And welcome back. 603-835-3226 is the number to call. Need some more coffee? Then you should probably have gotten it already. Although your caffeine addiction can be replaced with your Rod addiction. Don't get anything other than what I just said out of that. I know some people have some dirty minds, so get your minds out of the gutter. If you like to fish, then there you go. What do? You put your hook down into the water and you hope you pull some stuff up that's edible, like a fish. Well, it's the same thing. You know, you listen to this program and you're going to get some good edible stuff for your mind. And I am the rod that pulls it up for you. You put your fishing rod out there on the lake or in the ocean, and you hope you pull up some fish that you can eat. You put me, this rod, out there into the world, and what you're going to get is some food for your soul and your mind. There you go. Anyway, here it is, Thursday, hour number 2, Thursday, March number 30 in the year of our Lord 2017. And welcome to you liberty lovers and ecclesiastites all across the globe, as well as you new people. By the way, I am confused as hell. Let me see if I can explain this. Now, those of you who know me, and those of you who listen to the program, you know that I am for smaller government. I am for more effective government. I'm for more constitutional government. So how is it that I'm the one that's being called a fascist? I kid you not. There are people online that are calling me fascist. And I point out the definition of what fascism is, and that it definitely does not signify or describe me, yet I'm still so I've come to the conclusion that the liberals in their own minds have redefined the word fascist. They have, folks. Believe it or not, fascism no longer means big government. It no longer means government controlled. It no longer means government over government regulated. It no longer means government says that you can do this but can't do that. No, that's not fascism anymore. Fascism is you and me, those of us who don't want government in our daily life, who don't want other people and government officials to tell us how to live our life, who do stand by the Constitution, who do believe in the freedom of speech, even if somebody doesn't agree with what we say. You know, they're allowed to speak their mind. We believe that somebody else can say whatever they want to say, even if we don't agree with it. But somehow all of that is now been translated and equated to fascism. The new fascism is a constitutionalist. I just want you to know that. And they will say it. I mean, because I just figured it out. You know, because no matter how I present the fact, they're still just going to say the left does this a lot, and frankly, it doesn't work on me, and it doesn't work with me, and it doesn't work for people who follow me, because I don't let them get away with this. They can keep saying, "Oh, you're a fascist." Oh, so fascism now means somebody who's a constitutionalist. They can't. If you do not let them get away with it, you're not going to shut them up. But one of the things that we on the right have made the mistake of is we've let these people drive us off various campuses across the country. We've let them shut us up. They shout, and we like to think, well, you know, we're beyond that. We're better than the shouting. Oh, bullshit, we're not better than that. It is not about being better. We already have better ideas, so that should be enough. But it doesn't matter if you have better ideas or not, if you are not allowed to present them, and you are allowing them to shut you up to keep you from presenting your better ideas. You're allowing them, if you think that you are better than them because you're a constitutionalist, or at least you're not a whiny, snot-nosed, loud-mouthed snowflake, but you let them shut you up? What good is that? You can't prove it. You can't show it. You can't share it because you let them shut you up. I'm telling you, going anywhere, I would not let these people shut me up. They would not be able to intimidate me. I do not know why most conservatives will go out to speak, be invited to speak somewhere, and then allow just a very few loudmouth snowflake liberals to shut them. You know what? You shut them down and you shut them up. It's very simple. You point out to them what a fascist really is and show that they're being the fascists. They're being the intolerant ones. Because when you throw it back at them, you'll watch them stammer, stagger, and they won't know what to say. They'll keep repeating the same old crap because they have nothing new, because they have no facts, they have no logic, they're just emotional, and all they want to do is just try to shut you up. Their goal is to shut you up, not to defeat you in the arena of ideas. Their goal is to shut you up. That's it. They have no truth or facts. They know what they're saying is a lie. Many of them know, but they don't care. Their goal is not to prove that their ideas are better than yours. Their goal is to prevent you from presenting your ideas or any idea that isn't theirs. Their goal is to shut you up. And if one of the tools that they can use to shut you up is to call you a fascist, and understand this is not just of the snowflake left. This is also of the nut job libertarian. And nut job libertarian, I'm not talking about Rand Paul libertarians. I'm talking about nut job libertarians. Those people are just as bad as snowflake liberals. Because they think that if you are for anything other than, basically anarchy, you're a fascist. Any government at all to them, especially if it's above the county level, is fascism. I mean, that's just nut jobbery. Plain and simple. Anyway. Just know that I figured out that the liberals have changed the meaning of the word fascist, which is why they constantly hound constitutionalists like myself and people who want smaller government like Donald Trump and call them fascists. So, hey, we don't want to have. By the way, did you know that straight people, straight liberals, are lumping all you gay people into one bag? Yeah, North Carolina is changing their transgender bathroom laws, and they're changing that law simply not because of transgender, but because they say that lesbians and gays were being discriminated against. I thought gay men wanted to go into the men's bathroom and lesbian women wanted to go into the ladies' bathroom. I didn't know lesbians wanted to go to the men's bathroom. And I didn't know that gay men wanted to go into the ladies' bathroom. I just thought it was transgenders. And other sickos who just decided one day that they're going to be the opposite sex, no matter, even if they don't dress that way, they're going to identify that way. But you've been lumped in with transsexuals. All you LB or LG, all you LGBs have been lumped in with the T's. According to the left in North Carolina. Just saying, yeah, I don't know. Maybe maybe if you're a lesbian, gay, or bi, you're okay with that. But I happen to think and know quite a few gay people, and they're not okay with that. In fact, there are a lot of gay people, especially lesbian women, they don't like trannies. Am I not supposed to say the word tranny? They really don't. Gay men seem to like this whole drag queen thing. What did they do? The drag queen? What was that show on? It's on for a while. It's RuPaul. RuPaul's, was it Drag Wars? Drag Wars, right? No, Drag Race. RuPaul's drag. They weren't running, so it wasn't a race. It was wars, right? I don't know. I didn't watch the damn program. One of those two titles, Drag Wars or Drag Race. Yeah, I would think if it's a drag race, you're going to see a bunch of men in high heels running down, trying to do a 100-yard dash. That's what a race is to me. I don't know. That's probably a view that you don't want to have. A bunch of bearded grown men in dresses and high heels running down the street in high heels. I'm going to catch hell for that. I know. I'm not supposed to say that. In any case, the RuPaul drag thing. Well, that's fine to a lot of gay men. That's fine. But to actually think that you are a woman is not fine. Even gay men think that there's something a little bit off about that. And they're not gonna. They're not. Well, they do. There is. You'd be surprised the amount of discrimination that there is in the liberal world. You'd be surprised. I mean, when I worked as a bouncer in nightclubs down in Boston, and some of them had gay nights, it's the biggest bigoted people I ever came across were the homosexual community. Lesbians and gay men. You would not believe how bigoted and racist they are. Really is Now, you go to straight nights, you get straight guys, man. Most of them don't care what color or ethnic background that the girl is. The girl is gorgeous. They're gonna try for her. Gay men and lesbian women, oh my God, do they have stringent preferences? And they're not ashamed to say them. I mean, I remember conversations that went overhearing conversations that went something similar to this. A lesbian says to other, "Oh, look at her. She's a beautiful hoochie mama, isn't she?" No, honey, that's a Latino. You can't. There's no such thing as a beautiful Latino. I'm telling you, those are the kind of conversations that you hear. Now, you don't hear those kind of conversations on a straight night in a club. Gay night in a club, you'll hear those all the time. But aren't gays supposed to be liberal? So I ask again, who are the real racists in our society today? Really? Ask yourself that question. Who are the real racists in our society? As I always say, the person that is pointing a finger at you and claiming that that's you're the fascist, you're the bigot, you're the hater. Well, yeah, that old saying, they got three fingers pointing back at them. And when it comes to a liberal, when it comes to a leftist, I am pretty damn sure that's why that saying was invented. It was to shine a light on people that were leftists and leftist leaning and leftist thinking, because everything that they are accusing you of, they are doing themselves, and I have life proof of that.
You're listening to the Rod Eccles Show, the coolest, most politically incorrect, conservative black man on the planet.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
Well, I hope you had a chance to grab your next cup of coffee. And you're probably not going to want to drink it at the moment. You're going to want to let it cool down, which is a good thing, because I don't want you spitting it up when you hear these next stories from the AP and from the Seattle NBC. Comes these next two issues and stories. First, we have, let's go. Seattle is closer to us. Seattle files lawsuit over sanctuary city's funding threat. You know, all of a sudden, we have, now we have a city. First, we had states with the travel ban. Now we've got cities that are suing to keep the federal government from doing what the Constitution tells the federal government to do. And you have cities that are now as well as states that are suing the federal government to keep the federal government from not to force them to change the law or rule a particular law unconstitutional, to keep them from administering and from enforcing constitutional federal laws and statutes. Let's get that out of the way right up front. Let's understand that fully right from the get-go. That these cities and states are not challenging the constitutionality of the laws themselves. They are challenging the ability of the federal government to enforce constitutional laws. Now, look, with the travel ban, what are they doing? They're going after Trump, saying that Trump is being discriminatory. Not that the travel ban in and of itself is unconstitutional, but the reason that he supposedly wants to do the travel ban is unconstitutional. So their argument is simply because he's doing it from a Muslim majority countries, only very few, only 6 out of like 50 something, that it's a Muslim ban, and that's unconstitutional. Well, actually, it's not, but that's what they're saying. They don't want the federal government. Now, Trump not only has the Constitution, but he has Congress. The Congress gave the president power to do this, this ad hoc type of enforcement a long time ago. Congress passed it. Presidents signed the various bills that make this so. Constitution says that the president is the commander-in-chief, and he's responsible for keeping our borders safe, protecting us from internal and external threats. So constitutionally, he can decide that he wants to limit, he can just say, well, no more Icelanders. It doesn't matter what their religion is. No more Icelanders coming into the country because we think they're all terrorists. We're going to view them all as well, he can do that. Legally and constitutionally speaking, he can do that. But they're only saying this because this is majority Muslim nations, and they're calling it a Muslim ban, which we know it's not a Muslim ban because, the 50 other Muslim majority nations are still freely able to travel here, which is also a mistake because all they got to do is just go to those other countries and be let in. Passports flow like water in many Middle Eastern countries. There is no real way to track a lot of people down where they originally come from. So really, if Trump really wants to get around this, he could just say, you know what? No more immigration, period. You can visit, but you can't stay. No more immigration. You can just look, we went through that for about 60 or so years between 1920s and 1965. There was no real legal immigration into this country. You could visit, you could travel, and have fun, go home. That was it. You didn't get to, unless you had some sort of real reason to be here. Asylum seekers. Or when it was during like World War II, a scientist, you had something really severe and pertinent to add to the culture and the scientific knowledge of the day. You did not get to come and immigrate and move to the United States if you were not a citizen. Period. It wasn't allowed. So Trump can do the same thing now. Just say, we're just, cut off all. And what are they going to do? Say it's a ban on Muslims when you ban the entire world? Oh, sure, they're going to try to say that. But think about this for a second. They are actually trying to sue the federal government, and they found some liberal judges that are agreeing with them. That are folk. Look, I have said this. Trump has opened the door for these people to step into when all he had to do was say, you know what? I get your concern. It's a dumb concern. It's stupid, but I have the Constitution and the law standing in my right here. I don't need to pay attention to you on this. And any department that I direct that does not follow my orders is going to be fired. He can legally ignore these orders because the judges do not have a purveyance in foreign affairs. Do you realize that they're setting it up that if a president wants to go to war, wants to deploy the military for whatever reason to protect this country, it is now being set up where a federal judge somewhere can say, nope, the president can't do that. That is not the job of the judiciary. These judges know it, by the way. Don't think that they're stupid. Don't think that they don't know this. They know this. They know it big time. And yet they're still trying to issue fiat after fiat because that's the way they want it to be, not the way that it actually is. And folks, that's dangerous. Very dangerous. Call Rod now, 666-603-835-3226.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness.
Get some rear security.
From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
I'm not Rod Eccles, and I approve this message.
Six 603-835-3226. That is the number to call and utilize should you wish to join me here live here on the Rod Eccles Show. This whole notion with these judges, this is why it is so important and why you must pay attention to who you elect into various levels of government, not just the Fed. Yeah, it is very important for us to decide who the president is, because we know the president is going to appoint judges, and hopefully the presidents will appoint judges that lean more towards the originalist segment of the population and believe that the founders knew what they were doing and had it right when they originated and first implemented the Constitution. It's also important that you do this on a local level, because your governors in many states, state and local judges are also appointed. They're not necessarily elected. And governors get to do a lot of that appointment in the areas where the judges aren't elected. And it's important to understand that they point on the local level and the state level. I mean, the president doesn't nominate and doesn't appoint judges to a state Supreme Court. That's a governor. And if you do not have constitutional protections at every level, at some point you're going to be able to shop things around and find judges that'll do just what these stupid judges have done, which then affects the entire country at some point. So it's not just important because all politics, Tip O'Neill was very right when he said all politics is local. That is absolutely true. It starts locally at the lowest possible level. I don't care if it's just the municipal dog catcher. You never elect a liberal to any position, because once you give them power, they will seek to extend that power into areas they have no purveyance of whatsoever. Look at the judges now entering into areas that do not belong to the judiciary at all. The Constitution is very clear. I mean, are we going to get to the point where judges are going to get to weigh in on treaties and whether or not Congress can declare war in another country? Well, that's where we're heading. That is exactly where we're headed. And if you elect a liberal as a dog catcher, pretty soon they're going to start saying, well, you know what? I'm the dog catcher, the animal control officer, and I'm going to extend my authority of animals to insects. You have to get a permit from me in order to fumigate your house because there are ants in your kitchen. Don't think that I'm being a little overly simplified here, but I'm not. This is exactly where all this stuff is heading. If you are not careful about who you elect and put into places that could elect or appoint other positions and people into other positions that will affect you on a daily basis. If you don't want liberal policies running your life, then you do not elect even a liberal dog catcher. Do you understand? Or else you will get stories like this. Seattle files lawsuit over sanctuary city's funding threat. The city of Seattle announced yesterday a federal lawsuit over the Trump administration's threat to withhold federal grants to so-called sanctuary cities, citing the 10th Amendment that deals with states' rights. Hey, you have every right to go ahead. Yeah, you know what? Oh, love this when liberals get taken to the mat, then they bring out the Constitution. They want to trample the Constitution every other time. Any chance they get. You don't have a Second Amendment right, but we've got 10th Amendment rights, states' rights. Great. You have a right to be an idiot state. You really do. By the way, that's not Seattle. You're a city, not a state. It's not cities' rights. It's states' rights. Your state is not a sanctuary state. So therefore, you're wrong right there. But okay, let's just give him the benefit of the doubt. You have the right, the states' rights. You're absolutely correct. I have nothing against that. Beautiful. But you don't have a right to get federal money. You don't have a right to federal money. None, actually. Boy, did they miss that? Go ahead, be a sanctuary city. Be a sanctuary state. But understand that even though you have states' rights in the 10th Amendment, you signed on to the Constitution, the entire Constitution, which says that the federal government has the ability and has the responsibility of keeping the country safe from threats both foreign and domestic. Now, once somebody is illegal into the country, they are now a domestic threat. The federal government is charged by the Constitution to protect the people and to withdraw that threat. That has nothing to do with states' rights. One, you don't have a right to federal money. None. Actually. That's why they're called grants. Two, the federal government clearly states, since you're using the Constitution as your level of for your level of incompetence, if you're using the Constitution in order to pursue your stupidity, well, the Constitution says the federal government is the sole arbiter and is solely in charge of protecting us from threats, both foreign and domestic, to the tranquility and peace of these United States. A state doesn't get to declare war on anybody. Only the federal government can do that. Wait. But you're not arguing in your 10th Amendment states' rights that you have the ability to declare war on, say, I don't know, Germany. Well, a state can't. Because the Constitution outlines otherwise. Apparently, the Trump administration, their war on facts has now become a war on cities. It's not a war on facts. You're the only people out there, sir. Seattle Mayor Ed Murray. You're the only people like you are the only people that do not know the facts. You do not have a... This is the same guy that said that he had a constitutional duty and obligation to protect illegals. There is nothing in the Constitution. In fact, the Constitution specifically provides for the fact that you are not you do not get the protections as a citizen does. You must be a citizen. Which is why we had to have amendments to the Constitution to make sure that everybody became a citizen, a true citizen who was here, and those true citizens got the right to vote. You know, blacks and minorities and women. Anybody? Because the Constitution was pretty damn specific on who could and could not be construed as a citizen and who could and could not vote, and only citizens can vote. Therefore, the federal government is charged with protecting the borders and keeping people who are not invited to come into this country, who are not legal, who are not going to be here to promote this country and to push her forward into the future. The federal government is charged with protecting us from those kinds of people. So in other words, if the federal government lays down the law, federal law, outlining what it is and who can and who cannot and how you can and how you cannot enter the United States of America, And those people then therefore, such as an invading army, decides to bypass such rules, laws, and regulations as dictated by the Constitution of the federal government of the United States of America. They are now construed to be enemy combatants or enemies of the state being that of the United States of America. And thus it does not matter where they domicile themselves. Once they get here, they're still an enemy of the state. How difficult is that to understand? Therefore, if you are an enemy of the state, you have no constitutional rights unless you are a citizen, and therefore you shall be removed by the federal government by force if necessary. But this mayor is just a product of our public school education, obviously. He doesn't know, nor does he understand the Constitution. He's probably never read it outside of grade school if he ever had the chance to read it in grade school. Because I am convinced, now I may be falsely convinced, but I am convinced that if he ever did really read the Constitution, he would not have made such a stupid statement. But then again, there are some people like Barack Obama who are very versed in the Constitution, and and they know, Barack Obama, I told people this from day one. I said the problem with Obama is that he doesn't know the Constitution. The problem with Barack Hussein Obama is that he knows the Constitution, and he knows it very well. That makes him extremely dangerous because he knows exactly how to circumvent it. And what did he do in his entire 8 years as president? Successfully circumvent the Constitution. It's exactly what he did. Now, this mayor, Ed Murray from Seattle, is not that bright. He's not when it comes to the Constitution. He's not. I don't know. I read it again yesterday after hearing about this, and I'm thinking, I don't see anywhere it says that cities are supposed to protect illegal immigrants. I don't understand where he's even getting that idea. I don't see it even laid out in to make it even a plausible, idea at all. That it would even that Thomas Jefferson and John Hancock and George Washington and all the other framers and signers of the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States of America even alluded to such a thing. There's no allusion at all here about that. So I don't know what is he reading? What Constitution is Mayor Ed Murray of Seattle, Washington reading? Can somebody please I don't get it. I don't know what he's reading. I'm trying to figure it out. Look, you got to figure out, you got to try to I know logic cannot make sense of illogic. Other than to say that illogic is just illogical. Yeah, I get it. Murray went on to say, let me be clear about the facts. We are not breaking any laws and we are prioritizing. Say, wait a minute. You're not breaking any laws. How are you not breaking any laws? You're harboring and abetting a criminal. Well, this is because they don't believe that people who cross the border illegally are criminals. Well, they are. Well, let's not even go there. How about the fact that you are harboring criminals after they get out of jail because your local or state laws were broken and you threw them in jail? So you're harboring criminals. That's against the law, Mr. Murray. Do you understand that? Harboring a criminal, a known criminal, is against the law. Crossing the border illegally is a crime in this country. It is a crime in just about every country on the planet. But this is the kind of stuff that makes me want to pull my hair out. I do not understand where these people are coming from because you will not find this in the majority of people anywhere else on the planet. Well, they're not in the majority here either. But they're not in power in other countries. I don't understand how these people get in power. I do not understand it. How can you actually want yourself dead? Because that's what these people are hoping for. Believe it or not, that is what they are working for. They're working for their own destruction. Maybe. Now, I think maybe we're onto something here. You know, because we know that for the most part, most liberals are not happy people. They're not really happy. They're not. They always seem angry no matter what. And look at Whoopi Goldberg and Michael Moore and all the other liberals and Nancy Pelosi. They're always angry. So I've come to the conclusion, I think I figured out why liberals do and say and believe what they do. Because they're not depressed. They're just angry. And they're so angry at the entire world that they don't want to be here. But they have no skills and no courage whatsoever. They're too cowardly to commit suicide. So they're hoping that by harboring criminals and people who want to kill them, that, it's kind of like death by suicide by cop. This is what liberals are hoping for.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
Welcome back. 603-835-3226. One of the interesting things, well, it's not very interesting. It's actually kind of sad. But the thing is about this whole issue with the Trump travel, it all stems from the Trump travel ban, folks. It stems from the Trump travel ban. Make no mistake about it. This is all because this has nothing to do with the Constitution. Because everything that they're doing is anti-constitutional anyway. This has everything to do with hating Donald Trump. And reversing, even though that they are... Now, this is what you have to understand, folks. Let me be very clear. This mindset, this political party, obviously is in the vast minority. Just look out across the country. Hell, look out across the globe. They are a minority in their power and in their thought and in their numbers. Yet somehow they've been able, over the past 50 or 60 years, they've been able to establish a beachhead and establish power far beyond the size of their governance. And in this country especially, you have to understand that these people are the vast minority. And yet they still think that they have sway to rule, not govern, rule over the vast majority. And they will do anything and everything that they possibly can to tear down what the majority wants and what the majority builds. They do not like Donald Trump. They do not like the people that elected Donald Trump. Make no mistake about that. This is not about Donald Trump per se, but this is about the idea of what Donald Trump stands for, which is based on the people who support him and elected him, what the vast majority of real Americans support and believe. And these liberal minority idiots are totally against what the majority believes in. And they think simply because they are the minority, they have more and bigger and better rights than the majority. How else do you get a judge out in Hawaii who listens to an imam say, well, my mommy can't come visit me because of this travel ban? So what? Do they have such a huge industry in Hawaii, travel industry and tourism industry, that comes from these 6 countries? I mean, that was one of the arguments. It's going to hurt Hawaii's tourism industry. Do they have a lot of people coming from these 6 countries being tourists to Hawaii? And yet this federal judge is using that argument as one of the reasons to put forth this notion that the Trump travel ban is unconstitutional. It's why he put a hold. Oh, it's going to hurt the state. How the hell is it going to hurt the state? The only people who are traveling to Hawaii are not tourists, they're terrorists. This one, well, my mom can't come visit me. He actually said that. Well, he didn't say it that way, but that's exactly what he said. My mom can't come visit me because she's from one of these countries, and I'm from one of these countries, these 6 countries that can't come here anymore. Meanwhile, the same imam is out there preaching basically for the total and complete destruction of the United States of America. Folks, I can't make this stuff up. Can't make it up. It's insanity. It's not even insanity anymore. Oh, we've gone way past insanity. Now, this is just not insanity. I'm not sure what. There's got to be a new word invented to cover this, because we have moved way. There gets to be a point when you're so mean that you just move past mean. I mean, you can just be plain mean, but there's a point where you move past mean. Well, now we're at the point where we've moved. You can be insane, but we've moved past insanity. These people are not insane; they're past insanity, and we're all suffering for it.
The following program is recommended for mature individuals and may contain material unsuitable for morons, cretins, and dishwipes. If you are a moron or a member of the PTL Club, please turn off your radio, because we don't need any more stupid, narrow-minded, pencil-neck geeks who wouldn't know the First Amendment if it came up and bit them on the butt. Thank you.
Have you ever thought to yourself, I'm a leftist elite Hollywood a-hole? If so, good news. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College is now open, featuring such courses as unemployment is not paid vacation. No, Americans don't want to spend $19 for an order of french fries, and the ever popular shut the hell up. Why, just listen to this big-time celebrity endorsement.
I'm not Rosie O'Donnell, and I think this school's offensive, sexist, and racist.
And I think you're a giant a-hole who needs to shut the hell up. Hey, we teach a course in that. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College, where being an a-hole is not a guarantee you'll be an A student.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill. A breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help. Just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness.
Get some rear security.
From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
The human voice. It can be sweet as music, powerful as thunder,
And so, my fellow Americans,
cheerful as laughter. But for millions of people, it can also be a sign of COPD. This serious lung disease can make it so hard to breathe, you often can't catch a breath or finish a sentence, let alone carry a tune. And many who have COPD don't even know it. That's where your voice comes in. If you think you or a loved one have symptoms, talk with a healthcare provider. Early diagnosis can mean better treatments and quality of life. Join us in raising our voices for the millions with COPD who can't. Learn more, breathe better at NIH.gov.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
It's a huge burden lifted financially, and so it allows you to give singular focus to your child. I've never known a hospital that takes care of their patients so thoroughly.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When they told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow. They pretty much have saved us.
It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders, and now your focus is supporting this child.
There is not another hospital like St. Jude. The patient care is unmatchable. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
And now, live from the bunkerized studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, it's Rod Eccles.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
So those wonderful people in Congress have decided that that they're going to pass a bill, try to make a law that forces the EPA to tell us what's in their science that they've been using these past 20, 30 years to overregulate how we live our lives. You know, the whole, you got a little bit of puddle in your backyard, and all of a sudden you got a swamp that is controlled by and regulated by the EPA. This is not far from the truth. So Representative Lamar Smith said the days of trust me science are over, adding that the House bill would restore confidence in the EPA's decision-making process. Again, I still don't know why it is so secretive for the EPA to keep their science secret. And again, folks, listen, if the science that they keep telling us they have the science, they have the data to prove, why they're doing the regulations that they're doing in order to save the planet. So if the science really is definitive in telling them that unless we all go green and do exactly the opposite of what we've been doing for the past 100 years, that we're all going to die. If the science is definitive in that direction, I guarantee you, again, that more than 90% of the world population would be on board with the green movement. Because if we don't go green, we're going to die. Well, that isn't going to cause anarchy. It is going to make it a hell of a lot easier for governments to start issuing fiat after fiat and dictate after dictate about how we live, and we're going to accept it because we know we're going to die if they don't. But that's not the case. The case is that this is junk science. We've seen it. What is it? East Anglia College or East Anglia University. The emails that were leaked there that showed that scientists were colluding with one another how to lie and how to fake the data to show that there is global warming. And we know that there is no global warming. And it wasn't just there. There were emails that were released from different departments and schools in Harvard and at the University of Pennsylvania that said the same thing, that they were faking the data and they were colluding with one another and discussing how to fake the data. Well, if it's real, if we're all going to die like Al Gore said, you don't need to fake the data, and then you don't need to keep it secret. This is just, it's unbelievable that we fall for this garbage. Well, we're not falling for it, which is why finally Congress is acting to say, look, if you're going to control and believe that you can control so much of our lives and so much of our private property, then you're going to have to start proving why this is possible and why it's necessary. Really. Otherwise, go jump in a lake. Well, if the EPA has its way, then you wouldn't be allowed to jump in a lake. Yeah. The funny thing is that human beings. There's a lot of places where it's illegal for you to just urinate outside of a bathroom. You got to be in a facility to urinate and defecate. But the funny thing is that did you know you're not supposed to? The only human waste or the only waste that's supposed to go into the sewer system is human waste. Why? Because dog and cat waste is worse and more difficult to get rid of than human waste. But dog and cats, like bears and antelope and all the other animals out there, they can do whatever they want out in the wild. But you're not allowed to do. So you can't go. So the birds and everything, they can fly over a lake and poop in the lake, but you can't go swimming in the lake because somehow human beings are worse than the animals. Let's take a quick call here. 850, you're live on the Rod Eccles Show. What you got?
Rod, if you roll up a newspaper and strike your child services is coming, but you can't slap your dog with an open hand. You have to use a rolled newspaper. And this is when you have insanity, that's the kind of rules and regulations you have. And with Al Gore and his global warming, years ago, his father, who was a senator from Tennessee, opposed all of Lyndon Johnson's Great Society stuff and welfare state that he was creating. And maybe he really was right, in because the effects of it have ruined our society and created a new Indian reservation. But Al Gore, his father went to work for Occidental, Petroleum, which is Arm & Hammer. And he's actually a communist, or was a communist, and then he was on the payroll there. And Al Gore, he started his political career, and when he started out, he was pro-life. He was one of the only pro-life Democrats. So after that, he became, the friend of tobacco. And, he hoed it and chopped it and put it up and everything like that. Well, they need carbon credits now because of all the cigar smoke in Washington, D.C. And, you hear Rush Limbaugh saying that his elite friends are saying that he shouldn't be against global warming. Well, that's because they've invested in the new good thing that's going to come along in the tax-based economy. Where carbon credits
hold on, because I got a question for you, but I got to go to a hard break. I got a question for you. Sure. So don't go anywhere. Can you hold on to after the break? Because I got a question for you on that. We'll be right back.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all, the few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
bring the rain.
Welcome back, and back to the phones we go. I do believe we have Hickory on the line with us, and I wanted to ask him a question. And, folks, if you haven't heard this guy on this program before, I would call him one of my super fans, and he's called in numerous times before, and he's always added great wisdom to the subject at hand, and he often educates me. And I admit it, I don't know everything, but I'm a person who actually seeks out truth, no matter where that truth leads. Even if I don't like the truth, I just want the truth. I want the knowledge, and there are people out there that are educated in areas far beyond me, and that's a good thing. You have to understand that once you start thinking you know everything, that's when you really start to get yourself into trouble. And I never want to get to the point where I think I know everything about anything, actually, because there's always something new to learn. Because if you're not continually learning, then you're falling behind. But one of the things that I found during the show prep is that we have the Gore family, and a lot of people don't realize how far back some of these powerful elite, whether they're in Congress or they're just in business, how far back their families go and how entrenched they are in the power base. But when I look at certain people, they're new to the power grab and the power base. If you go back in their family history, there isn't a lot there, and so they're starting anew. So we know about the Gore family and the Kennedy family. They also go back in time. The Bush family goes back in time with the power base. And there are a bunch of families that go back in time. But one family that is kind of new to this stuff, and I'm trying to figure out exactly why they've come onto the scene and where he really, really wants to go with this stuff. Because it seems like he's hemming back and forth in different directions, but there seems to be a general direction that Mark Zuckerberg is going. Now, if you look at the Zuckerberg family, there isn't a lot of historical power base in the Zuckerberg family. So he's the new one. He's starting the Zuckerberg family off, and he's setting it up in a way that could ensure, like the Kennedys and the Vanderbilts and the Bushes, that they're going to continue with this from this day forward. And Al Zuckerberg is out there. He's funding charities that supports radical Islamic groups. Now, these same Islamic groups would really like to kill him and his daughter. So what exactly are the new power broker families looking or hoping to accomplish by doing this stuff? Do you have any ideas or clues on this one?
Well, Zuckerberg is different than Bill Gates. Bill Gates' family, his mother and father both worked for Planned Parenthood, and that's why he's so enamored by vaccines to limit population. Zuckerberg is an adherent to all the gobbledygook that is in college, and he's like a butterfly. He pollinates here and he pollinates there. You saw that picture of him jogging in Tiananmen Square, and he jogged over here. He's a globe jogger, and he's got a lot of money. Yeah, he's got a lot of money because of he's a Silicon Valley miracle basically, but from college, because he developed Facebook. So when you combine this with the Googles and all the other things that are like that, see. They're going to limit our searches. They're going to make it so that when you go and look for a specific thing, you will not find it because that will be blocked and you'll be offered up a bunch of other stuff from the bottom. And so the kids today, they have no idea. And here's the other thing. They all think they're a star. You know, you got hip-hop and all this other stuff. So, you know, everybody carries around a device. You know, they have it on their hip. You know, when they're walking along with this big thing hanging on their hip, that thing's just taking a picture of everything that's going on around it. You know, it's, you know, and, you know, they come up and they're worried if you're wearing Google Glass, you know. It's absolutely evil. And it's the increase in knowledge that was spoken about in the Bible for the end times. And so, you know, when you look at an Apple, a MacBook Air, or any Apple product, you know, it's got a bite out of it. It's got a bite out of it for a reason. I mean, these people are more cynical than anything. And Zuckerberg is what you would, in my opinion, Adolf Hitler had Jewish blood. The guy that was running Iran, what was his name? I can't think of it right now. But he was over there at the embassy takeover and everything, and he had Jewish blood. And then you look at Arm & Hammer, and he has Jewish blood. And you look at Hollywood, and you look at the Jewish blood, and you have to say, my God, they're so smart. How did they get so smart? Who gifted them with that? Well, their Father in heaven gifted them, but he also gave them a free will. And so it's a spiritual thing that's coming down to the wire. And Facebook, you know, and all this stuff, you know, the kids just love this stuff. If you hand a phone to a 3-year-old, you know, pretty soon they're cruising through it and you're scratching your head and you're saying, how did you get there? Because, you know, I'm 63 years old. I'm not really a technical kind of guy when it comes to the Internet. I mean, years ago, you've invested in utilities. And then cell phones came along because they were able to communicate through the air. And, you know, AT&T had that in the 70s. They could dispatch people from their home. You know, you walk out to the truck and you would get your information, where to go, what to do. And when Ronald Reagan deregulated that, that's what set this stuff in motion. And so, you know, we have to ride on top of it here in America. But the first thing that we have to do in this renewal that our president has given us the opportunity, that he stepped up into the danger zone. And he stepped up, and it's up to us to bring a spiritual renewal, because America is spiritual dross. And it's got to be changed from within, and it has to be done by happy people, not someone like Zuckerberg.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't know if Zuckerberg is happy or not, but if he's a liberal, and I've already said earlier in the program that most liberals are not happy at all. They're miserable SOBs, and they want to share that misery with the rest of us.
Be in his butt if he was on fire, man. I mean, you know, that man, you know, and the money, he likes Merkel, he likes the Chinese, he likes the Muslims, he likes the, you know, hey, you know, Bill Gates gave us the call center in India. Well, those guys graduated. They came over to the United States, and they're working those H-1, B-1, or whatever they are. I'm not totally familiar with them. Visas in Silicon Valley. And then you got the 3 Pakistanis that were in Washington, D.C., Rod. They 70 years ago, they were both living in the same place. It was the British Crown colony of India that hadn't gotten its independence. And then there was a civil war between the Muslims and the Hindus. And, you know, if you knew how many people that they herded into a low place and murdered in India at one time, I mean, you can't imagine bloodlust like that. And you know, they cultivate that with their halal meat. You know, it's good to get the goat to trust you. You pet the goat and then cut his throat. That's what they're taught. And Muhammad, I think two people that best described it was Ataturk and Churchill. Churchill, Islam in a human is as bad as rabies in a dog. And Ataturk said that, it's a curse that this Bedouin has visited upon us, and we have to throw it off.
That is, there's some wisdom there. Churchill was a smart man. Too bad we don't have more of Churchills today. And Rod, one more thing. The Bedouin, those are the brothers of the Jews. They all descend from Abraham. Those are Ishmael's kids. And, if God spoke to Abraham and said, hey, them kids ain't going to get along with nobody, not even their own neighbor, well, that's the way it is. And, if people don't want to believe it like that, then they can go on Facebook and believe whatever is fed to them, because it's all going to be spoon-fed. It's all this, it's all the same, no matter how you want to choose to believe it. But this was amazing how this was already foretold thousands of years ago, but now we're just starting to believe it in some faction or some form.
Oh, no, Rod. You not believe it, but see it.
Yeah. Well, yes. The seeing is, but even today, sometimes seeing is not believing. But yes, you're right. But
see, when you search out God, you don't come up empty.
No, my friend, you never do when you do that, when you search him out. Definitely not. You never come up empty. Thanks so much again. Almost time for another break, but thanks so much again, Hickory. It's always great to talk to you. You bring so much to the program, and I'm glad you're out there.
I really appreciate it, my friend. Thank you. And don't be afraid of the gorilla, all right?
Hey, gorillas are bigger than me.
I'm a 600-pound gorilla in an 800-pound gorilla world. So I'm at a disadvantage like everybody else.
All right. Thanks for your call. The Zuckerberg, this is the other thing that was on my plate for this hour. Is Zuckerberg he funded a charity that supports radical Islamic groups, which is really kind of strange, because even though there is no historical power base in the Zuckerberg family in the recent past. Now, I don't know if you want to go back hundreds of years, and maybe there is, but I don't know. That doesn't matter. Nothing in the recent past over the last 100 to 200 years, except for the fact that Zuckerberg is Jewish. And you're starting to see the rise of the Jew, at least outside of Israel, and it's happening inside Israel a little bit too, but especially outside of Israel, you're seeing the rise of the Jew support their murderer, which would be the Islamic believer or Muslim. Now, make no mistake about it. You can say all you want to about this whole note. You have in certain factions where Christians, so-called Christians, have done horrific things. And you have had other Christians denounce those actions. And you have other Christians saying, well, that is not a Christian act. You're not a true Christian. We denounce what you did. Just horrific stuff. Well, I have yet to hear of any Muslim or Islamic group denounce anything that any other Islamic or Muslim group has done or said, especially when it comes to the Jew. And yet you have the Jew, especially the Western Jew, who is now embracing those who want to kill them. I'm at a loss.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
The fact that you would have people, and it's not, well, folks, it's not just Jews. It's not just Jews that seem to want to hasten their own destruction. I mean, maybe there's some self-guilt or self-pity that deep down in their soul and in their psyche that they honestly and truly believe that they deserve death, but they don't have the courage to, or maybe their convictions and their deep-held beliefs prevent them from offing themselves. Now, I'm not advocating suicide. I know some people are probably going to listen to this and say, Rod is advocating suicide. No, I'm not advocating it all. I think suicide is a permanent solution to any and all temporary problems. Really. It's the wrong decision. I can't think of a single... even for people that might have a debilitating, fatal disease, because you never know when, at that last minute, there might be a cure or at least a life-preserving treatment, even if it doesn't cure it. And if you kill yourself before then you're. I hear the arguments about dignity and stuff like that all the time. Now, suicide is not the answer in any case. I'm sorry, it's not. Life is too fragile and too precious to take it for granted in such a way. When you kill yourself, you cheapen all life. You're wasting it. It's a magnificent gift. You waste it. So I don't advocate it. But what I'm saying is that you have all these people out there that I think that they don't believe and think that they deserve to live, and they believe that you don't deserve to live either, but they're too cowardly to take themselves out, so they will invite or do things that are dangerous and very suspect to the support of life. We have this whole notion of a suicide by cop. Well, now you could probably argue that maybe there are people out there that want suicide by terrorist. I'm not making this up, folks. This is some real stuff out there, because you got to wonder, why is it that you or anybody would advocate protecting those who really want to harm them? Do you honestly believe that if you become their friend that they're going to love you when they've told you over and over and over again, it doesn't matter what you do, they're still going to come after you? You may be the last one that they come after because you've been so nice and friendly to them, but they're still going to come after you. Plain as, you're not going to escape them. Plain and simple. It's beyond me why we do this sort of, why anybody does this sort of thing. I mean, Germany just reelected Angela Merkel, and I feel that election is suspect because the Germans, there were poll after poll after poll that says Merkel was in trouble. Nobody liked her, but now she's going to get another chance. The same with in Denmark. When there was the populist candidate was rising in the polls like you would not believe, and the Danes were all they're scared to death of this open border stuff with all these refugees coming into their countries like Sweden. But yet and still, in some of these countries, the people that are hated the most still win. It doesn't look like that's going to happen in France. It looks like Marine Le Pen is going to win over there. And it looks like all the people now there are polls in Britain saying that, that just under about 49% of the people support the exit of, Brexit. Really? Well, it was approved overwhelmingly by over 60%. Now all of a sudden you're saying that the Brits have had second thoughts? I don't think so. So they delivered their divorce papers from the EU yesterday, so that is moving ahead. Now it looks like it's, there's no turning back. It's just now the next 1 to 2 years of figuring out how to fully separate themselves from the EU without totally destroying the EU, because Britain is going to be fine. It's going to harm the EU and Britain, but it is going to harm the EU a hell of a lot more than it harms Britain. In this divorce from the EU. And the EU knows it, and Britain knows it too. Although Scotland is out there looking to do pull another Canada, or Quebec, I should say, trying to have another referendum to leave the UK. It's not going to happen, and they'd be foolish to do, all because of Brexit. Oh, we like Brexit. We like having open borders. Scotland, really? Let me be brash and say that's probably why the English were able to conquer you, because you Scots, your leadership in Scotland throughout history has been very stupid when it came to foreign invaders. Really. That's the only reason. And hey, look, I'm probably going to get banned from going to Scotland now. I'd love to visit Scotland, but if I can't go to Scotland, I'll just go to Ireland, because the Irish in a way have it right. In other ways, they can improve. But, or hell, maybe I'll just close up shop, say the hell with it all, and just move to Iceland. I don't know. Iceland seems to be but Iceland is what? They're a Dutch protectorate, right? I think that's where Iceland is not an independent country, by the way. A lot of people don't realize that. But hey, still a nice place I've been there once. It wouldn't be a bad place to live. It's just kind of cold all the time. Yes, I know. But other than that, it wouldn't be a bad place to live. There's not a lot of people around to mess with you. 380,000 people, I can deal with that. In an entire country, that'd be fine. Anyway, folks, we're out of time for today. Don't forget to check out the new website. Some new stuff is coming on today and tomorrow. It's going to be expanded. It's a beautiful thing. Loving it over there. As well as tomorrow is Freedom Friday. Just about anything goes. And so until then, I'm Rod Eccles. Have a wonderful Thursday afternoon. I'm out.